All right, let's jump right in. We're looking at a source today that makes a really powerful and honestly pretty provocative argument about our relationship with our smartphones. It's all about this hidden battle for our focus.
So right out of the gate, the source drops this bombshell. Think about it. Mark Zuckerberg doesn't let his kids use Facebook. Steve Jobs, he didn't let his kids use the iPad. And you have to ask, why? The argument here is that these devices, well, they weren't created for us to be masters of them. They were created for serfs.
Now, before we can even really dig into that idea, we have to get our heads around the sheer scale of our attachment to these things. And trust me, the numbers, they're just staggering.
I mean, look at this number, 2.5 months. The source claims that this year, in 2024, the average person will spend the equivalent of an entire season, 2.5 months, just inside their smartphone. That's not a small chunk of time. That's a huge portion of our lives.
And here's the thing, this isn't like we're scheduling phone time. It's all impulse. We're talking about checking our phones around 150 times a day. That's like every 5 or 6 minutes for many of us. We're constantly getting pulled out of what we're doing by this endless stream of pings and notifications.
And if you look at this chart, it really paints a picture of how much of our day this stuff eats up. We're talking hours and hours every single day. And you can see it right there. It's especially true for younger people who are spending even more of their waking hours glued to a screen.
Okay, so here's the really crucial point the source makes. This isn't just about wasting time. It's not just about the hours lost. There's a real price we're paying, a steep and often invisible cost to both our minds and our bodies.
Just take a look at this list of hidden costs. The argument is that scrolling isn't some harmless, passive way to relax. No, it's an active process of degradation. We're talking loss of focus, mental exhaustion, getting caught in this dopamine trap. It even gets into physical decay, reduced creativity, and making us more suggestible. It's a whole cascade of effects.
The source has a pretty vivid term for this, brain rot. And the idea behind it is simple but powerful. For an adult, our ability to focus isn't just one tool for learning, it's basically the only tool we have for real learning and for changing our brains. So when we're constantly outsourcing our attention to our phone, we're not just getting distracted, we're actually losing the ability to focus at all.
And this right here, this comparison, this gets to the heart of the chemical trap we're in. See, a real accomplishment gives you this deep, meaningful, satisfying hit of dopamine. But scrolling, that gives you these cheap, tiny little hits, not even from finding something good, but just from the anticipation of it. Our brain gets rewired to want that quick, easy fix, and suddenly those big, real-world goals, they start to feel way too hard and not worth the effort.
So all of this leads to a really critical question the source asks. Was this an accident? Is this just a bug in the system, or is it a feature? Is all of this happening by design?
Well, the first theory it puts forward is a societal one. The idea is that a population that's constantly entertained, distracted, and not really thinking critically, well, that's a very stable population. It's a whole lot easier to manage people who are too busy scrolling to ask difficult questions about the world they live in.
And it even goes a step further, bringing in ideas from critical theory. It basically says, hey, what we think of as rational progress, embracing all this new tech, might actually just be a really sophisticated system of control. It's like we're putting on a new kind of handcuffs, and we're doing it willingly.
But then there's the second part of the argument, which is way more direct. It claims that these companies literally hire teams of experts, psychologists, neurobiologists, to engineer features for one reason and one reason only, to get you hooked. Think about it. The like button exploits our need for social approval. Those little red notification dots are designed to command our attention. An infinite scroll, it's genius, in a dark way. It just removes any natural reason to stop.
Okay, so that's all pretty bleak, right? But after painting that picture, the source offers a really powerful way forward. And it's not about getting into this grim, miserable fight against addiction. It's about completely reframing the whole thing into something positive. It's about going on a hunt for a superpower.
And that's the core idea right there, the reframe. The goal is to stop thinking about what you're giving up, the endless entertainment, the distraction, and instead focus all your energy on what you are actively gaining. And what you're gaining is this rare, incredibly valuable resource: silence.
And this is maybe the biggest takeaway. Silence isn't empty space. It's not just boredom. It's the moment when your brain is finally free from just consuming, and it can start doing its real job, processing, connecting ideas, and creating. It's when your brain actually starts working for you instead of for an algorithm.
The source says that when you find this silence, your mind goes through these three powerful conversions. First is plot conversion. That's when your mind starts to piece together your own life story to make sense of things. Then there's insight conversion. This is when you get into that creative flow state where new ideas just pop up. And finally, boredom conversion. This is where your dopamine system resets and you actually get your motivation back for the useful stuff, the hard things that matter.
And look, starting this hunt doesn't mean you have to go live in a cave. It's not about some huge, dramatic change. It's all about small, consistent choices. You could literally start today. Next time you're in a line, just don't pull out your phone. That's it. This week, maybe have one meal without it. The key isn't intensity, it's consistency. You just build from there.
So, in the end, the source basically puts the choice right back in our lap. This technology, it's not going anywhere. The device is in your hands. So the final question it leaves us with is this: who is really in control here? Will you be the master or will you be the serf?